Stepping into the abundant or prosperity mindset is something to be cultivated. It's a skill. And there's no one right way or better way for everybody. That's just not the case. There's going to be some techniques, of which there are many, that work better for some people. And some people will be able to do it a little bit easier, a little bit faster. That's not really the important part. The important part is that you can step into this place. And today I'd like to share a little bit about my experience and the actions and the experiences that I found helpful in transitioning from a yoga teacher income of $500 to $1,000 a month to earning thousands of dollars in a single phone call. This process, I'm going to say, really started, I'd say it's taken about 2 years to make this kind of shift. And the last year, I've been basically working in the high ticket range. That means like every deal I do is $1,000 plus for about a year. So here's what I've been doing in this past year to make this shift. And I'm not gonna talk about like selling premium courses or increasing your prices, because there's other actions that are going to need to go alongside that in order to make that course or offer sell. Because you can build it, just because you put $1,000 price tag on something doesn't mean it's gonna sell. So one of the biggest things I've been doing is listening to prosperity podcasts and talks. That's been one of the most consistent. And a couple different ways I would do this, but the most frequent one I've done, and the one that I'm finding really helpful, is being out in nature. Previously, when I lived in Turkey, I would take my son out for walks, and he's a baby, so he's in a stroller. And I would walk for an hour, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, and listen to these different podcasts that are all about abundance affirmations, abundant mindset, readings of New Thought authors and from their books, and then there'd be a little bit of commentary on it. And I've also been pretty interested in this idea of like quantum entanglement, and that, as without, so within, as above, so below, sort of mindset. So I've been really trying to channel that. And it's one thing that's really important when you're listening to that kind of content, is that you're imagining what you're working towards. So for me, that includes different financial targets. That includes different numbers of students signing up. That includes earning a certain amount when I'm booked for a call with a student. That includes making a certain amount per month. So stuff like that. And I make decisions that are going to assist me in manufacturing/manifesting that version of me in that reality, right? Because you have to be making decisions from the place of the version of you that's already achieved it, right? Because if you want to get in alignment with, say, earning $10,000 a month, you need to be thinking, dressing, feeling, acting, talking, self-caring as much as you can in the present, like the version of you who would be earning that financial target. And you embodying those things really helps, especially making decisions from that place, right? So saying, okay, I'm looking at this coach. Would the version of me who makes that much money have this kind of attitude about paying this much money for this thing? And here's one recent example. of mindset shift. I used to think that if I earned money online, then I could live overseas in Asia. And because the cost of living in Asia is so much lower than in the West, I can save a bunch of that money and live a better quality of life. And that's been true. I have done that. But then once I just recently hit one of my big targets, and I got sick and I was in the hospital. And so I'm laying in the hospital. Just a few days earlier, I had reached this sales target for the month, and I realized if I can do this for 1 month, I can do this every month. And then I realized if I could do this every month, I wouldn't be living in Asia, I'd be living in the West. And then I realized, and this is why I'm not finding and networking with the type of people who are earning this level of income every month, because they are earning that level of income, and so they can stay in the West, live a really good quality of life, and it's not a financial problem for them. And that was huge for me. So being in the mindset is huge. Listening to podcasts that assist you with that mindset. Maybe it's sales podcasts, maybe it's abundance affirmations, whatever it is, if it's got to help you get into that mindset that there is infinite abundance, that it is all around you, that you can tune in and connect to it. That is one. Now, there's probably going to be some comments, and I you know what, while we're on the topic of this, if you have a favorite abundance affirmation or YouTube channel or source, feel free to comment it down below, because I love learning about new abundance affirmations and sources and stuff like that. So down below. But there's always going to be people who say, yeah, well, I said this affirmation and I immediately didn't get what I wanted, so it's not going to work. Well, the second part that goes part and parcel with affirmations is belief and feeling. You see, thoughts are things, but your heart is so much more powerful energetically. This has been measured. Heartinstitute.org in California has measured that the electromagnetic signal that comes off of your heart is about the size of a car, versus the one that comes off your head is a bit bigger than the size of a large sports ball, like a basketball, or maybe one a little bit bigger. So if you want to manifest things, you need to be in the feeling state of it already manifest, because that feeling state gives off a much larger signal, and thus your world will dramatically shift so fast that it'll probably be hard for you to handle. I've learned over the year of 2022, right? So for me, the year in 2022, there was the Ukraine war. There's all this geopolitics stuff. We're just coming out of COVID. Then I had my son, and my wife was going through a lot after our son was born. Then we had to apply for her permanent residency. Then we had to apply for my son's certificate of citizenship. I was getting my business off the ground, and I was building all these automations. I was building all this course content. We were living in Turkey. We were uncertain about our residency status there. There was a few other things. We did some small trips. Her mom came to visit. My parents came to visit. We had some ups and downs with hiring different domestic staff to help us out around the house. There was all kinds of financial up and downs. I hosted my first retreat. We all got sick with COVID. There was like several other things. My wife and I are going through a lot mentally and emotionally. Like we're still a pretty new couple, and we've been doing this parenting thing. We're first-time parents. We've been doing it alone in Turkey with no friends. We did have some help, like a driver and a cleaner, but we didn't have those network of communities that people really need when they're first-time parents. But neither of our parents were there for very long. Her mom was there for 2 weeks. My parents were there for 3. But the rest of the time we were doing this whole parenting thing alone while I'm building a business, while my wife is recovering from the delivery. Like, it's been insane, right? So you have to feel the emotions of what it is you're affirming, the state that you desire, because that's the only thing that's going to amplify the transition from where you are to the feeling of where you're going to be. Doing meditations and internally visualizing, not just in your head, in your whole body, internally seeing and feeling the state that you want to be in with detail is game changing. Okay, so first things first, you have your affirmations, your input sources, very important. Second thing is embodying the feeling of the wish fulfilled, super important. Okay, now, and this includes belief, right? So you believe that this is possible, you know in your heart that it's possible, you feel that it's already happened. This is crucial, okay? How do you believe? How do you believe something? How do you undo years of beliefs, right? If you're like me, your parents taught you to go to school and get a good job, and that getting a good job meant stability. And then we've seen all this economic uncertainty and thousands of people losing their jobs, people getting laid off, cost of living going up, all this other stuff. So how do you deal with that, right? Well, and how do you change those beliefs into a state of abundance and feeling joyful when around you people can point out to all kinds of things that they say indicate otherwise, right? But did you ever notice that all the things people point to are usually like abstract and impacting different things around the world, or, it's usually not impacting your day-to-day direct life. There may be trickle-down effects, and if you look hard enough for it and draw conclusions, you could probably find it. But why can't you do the exact same thing for all the blessings and abundance? Because if you're focusing on all the hardships in your life, the cost of living going up, how unaffordable housing is, how high inflation is, how the stock market's down, blah, 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 you're just finding reasons to make yourself poorer. And it feels bad, and it's easy for us to get trapped into a state of fear and angst and worry from headlines and news and social media and all this other stuff. So one of the best things I've done, step number 3 for manifesting and tuning into a state of abundance, and this really ties into both number 1 and number 2, but it's taking action. Okay, taking action is the bridge in changing your beliefs. Okay, so let me give you an example. I spent a long time thinking that I would, have high ticket items for sale, and that I would be earning automated online income, and that I would be living in Asia and running a business online and helping people all over the world, right? But I got better and better at believing it. The more I listened to positive content and other supportive resources instead of just stuff on the news, the more I visualized it being a normal part of my day-to-day life. And by taking action for doing things like building something I could sell at a high ticket price, and then actually creating products and services that I sell for that high ticket price. Like one of the things I often get from teachers is, how do I make money online? And then I say, well, have you set up Stripe? Have you set up PayPal? Do you have a business established? And they say no. And so, it's sort of weird. How can you make money online if you don't have Stripe and PayPal set up? And then people say, oh, well, Stripe wants 4% and PayPal wants 4.5%. Yeah. So that's the cost of business of receiving money online from people all over the world on subscription. like without them, you wouldn't be able to do that, nor would you have the security, right? The fraud prevention, saving cards on file. Sorry, there's the that train again. Like everyone wants all the benefits and the goodies, but no one wants to pay the cost. And when you take action, there's just costs. It's just part of business. And that's okay. It's okay to have those costs and to pay them. You just need to factor them into the price of what you're offering. Here's the train. A little bit harsher on the horn than usual. So, taking action is not required, okay? I want to be clear on this. Your abundance, your prosperity, your ability to earn online is not linked to how hard you work. There are plenty of hardworking, broke people out there, okay? But taking regular action with the belief that this is going to work out, that it's going to pay off, that people are going to use the services and buy the products that you've created through action will transform your beliefs, right? When you have nothing set up to work online as a yoga teacher, it's hard to believe that people will pay you money because you don't have a way for them to do it. Now, of course, the universe could still deliver, but it's going to be hard for you to receive. As you set up all the pieces for building an online business, you accept more that it's possible because you have gone through the actions and you know that there is now a way set up. And that makes your beliefs more possible for other ways for the universe to deliver to you abundance. Okay? It's a process. It's not the action that gets you the results, but in my case, doing the action with the belief that this is going to work out and is part of my journey has contributed to building and firming up my beliefs. So it's these three things together, right? Inputs that contribute to you having those beliefs, working on the beliefs, and then taking actions that contribute to your beliefs. All of these things come together, and they have been absolutely crucial for me when, over the past really several years, but especially the last 2 years while I've been living in Turkey and now in Sri Lanka. Putting these things together has helped me go from a place of earning a few $100s a month as an online yoga teacher, doing asana classes on Zoom, to earning thousands of dollars per month and offering high ticket offers that allow me to really earn my worth as a teacher and help people in the deep, passionate way that I've been wanting to do, right? So let me know what you think about this. Where are you struggling with these three different pieces for working on building your prosperity and abundance? Is it the sources of positive content? Is it creating the beliefs and the mindset? Or is it taking the actions that you believe while believing that these are going to work out? Which one of those three has been the most challenging for you? Comment down below. Love to hear where you're putting your efforts in right now. And if you've been successful in either one or all three of these, comment that down below too. I love to see success stories, and we need people here who are sharing what's been working for them so that other people can do that for themselves. If you'd like to learn more about how you can teach online from anywhere without doing a bunch of yoga classes, click the link in the description of this video. I have a free workshop for you there, and I'll see you inside.